Does anyone else wonder why it is that the word narcissist, many feel, is a term gets tossed around too loosely or is overused? Yet, rarely do you hear a raise of concern or get the same kind of uproar over the word codependent, especially since more often than not, the two labels, if you will, are considered by most, or in many's belief, to go hand in hand in regard to narcissistic abuse, and that those who have dealt with them firsthand have seen the detriment that it's caused one of their loved ones, or have studied and are educated in psychology, that these masters of manipulation are so well versed in their abilities at mirroring others, playing the victim, lying their faces off, and have perfected their timing in knowing just when and where they need to turn on the charm in order to get others to buy in to whatever BS it is they're trying to sell them on at any given moment. To that, they are more like some kind of demonic shape-shifting, sadistic chameleon who has delusionally convinced themselves that they are more powerful, almighty, and important than God, who has a total disregard for others' feelings than just some egocentric, grandiose, pathologically lying con artist who identifies with their false self. Yet, in the knowing and grasping all of this, aren't questioning it more or even fully believing that the reason an individual will ever find themselves in a relationship with a narcissist to begin with, or one of the main reasonings behind they stay in these relationships for as long as they do, are due to their being codependent from some unresolved childhood trauma or unhealed wounds from the past. Now, that being said, I do not disagree that after enduring narcissistic abuse for any kind extended period of time, at some point, the one on the receiving end is going to present with likely meeting damn near every criterion as to that of what determines or considers one to be a codependent, because that is unfortunately the sad reality of what narcissistic abuse does to someone. There are two huge issues with, in my opinion, the far more loosely used label of codependent. First being that it undermines the severity and detriment that these repeated criminal acts of psychological violence creates to one's overall well-being, and how it drastically impacts all aspects of their life, in that it is viewed by not only others, but by the individual themselves as to that they already had unresolved issues and problems, essentially assuming at least part of the fault for being abused. But just because one has unhealed wounds or repressed feelings or not, does not excuse, justify, or give anyone the right to intentionally take away the rights to their privacy, their sense of safety, their independence, their voice, their financial security, invalidate their feelings, opinions, values, beliefs, isolate them from the outside world, fraudulently assume credit for their accomplishments, slander, demean, belittle, insult, degrade, devalue, disrespect, mislead, coerce, and brainfuck them to a point of confusional oblivion and mental mayhem that they don't know up from down, who or what to believe, or who the fuck they even are anymore. It is not someone's fault, nor does it make it any more okay for this not only heinous and deliberate psychological torture, whether you have the strength emotionally to that of the physical strength of a gorilla and the confidence of a peacock, that you are no better off than a combination of the scarecrow and the cowardly lion before they went on their little trip down the yellow brick road. Not only is it not right in either situation, but in all reality, the narcissist will go after either or, as long as they think they've got a shot at being able to manipulate them. And two, because before knowing or understanding what a narcissist truly is and capable of, you have no way of knowing what red flags to look for. And it's hard enough to try to explain to someone else your mandatory daily attendance to the narcissist insanity ball, even after you've realized their life is nothing more than one big masquerade, let alone before you had any clue as to what was really going on. Because the bottom line is human beings as a species are wired and designed to form connections and attachments with other human beings, thrive in life. Biologically designed to need these connections just as much as we do oxygen and water. Decades of collected research has shown both our brain and our nervous system are dependent, rely on, and require attentiveness and attunement from others in order for one to have the full ability to self-regulate their emotions, and that we subconsciously depend on others that we are close to for security, safety, and to feel loved in order to maintain and be in good mental health. Yet society as a whole has kind of adapted this sense one should love themselves and not require external validation. And though yes, self-love, knowing your worth, value, and continuously building one's confidence are extremely important qualities for each and every one of us. But no matter how you cut it, we are still programmed and wired, rely and require validation, approval, and a sense of belonging and connection with others. And the reasons that these codependent-like behaviors and mentalities come to surface when in a relationship with a narcissist due to the way that the narcissist strategically goes about gaslighting and feeding them misinformation, as well as hot and cold treatments to contort their perceptions of reality, guilt trip others that your confidence be reduced, putting them in survival mode, totally disabling their ability to make any kind of decisions off of logic or reason, have learned to not wake the beast as to the repercussions of doing so, put you in a far worse position than to just go about and appease them, continuously invalidating their feelings and making it impossible for them to ever achieve or meet their expectations, intentionally oversteps any boundary that anyone ever sets. The negative self-talk, limited beliefs, inability to trust, second-guessing everything you do due to the constant and prolonged way that the narcissist demeans, devalues, seeing to it that you develop these behaviors, feelings, and inadequacies, because it is the only way that they can keep you from one, figuring out what the fuck is going on here, and two, from leaving until they deemed your time has come. Period. What puts you at the biggest risk of getting involved with a narcissist has nothing to do with codependency, being vulnerable, wounded, naive. It is simply due to not knowing that you are being manipulated. Because you cannot manipulate someone if they know they're being manipulated. End of story. And as much as that sucks, and as much as most don't want to believe they can sink their claws into educated, well-rounded, confident, emotionally stable, kind-hearted individuals, they do all day long. And why the best defense from a narcissist is to, one, get your head from out of the sand into thinking that these people don't exist, and two, educate yourself what they are capable of and common manipulative tactics that they use. Because truly, that is the only way to protect yourself from a narcissist. And even then, you still may not always know right off the bat. Having the knowledge and knowing their mojo, recognizing when something seems just a wee bit too good to be true, being more conscious of not just giving away the blueprint to your mind, heart, and soul before someone has deemed themselves worthy of such precious and valuable information, deciding what you find important to having in a relationship, and holding firm and keeping firm to your boundaries, at the same time careful not to set up steel walls that there isn't a soul on this planet that could bust their way through. Having educated yourself and knowing that they can't manipulate you if you know that you're being manipulated gives you the upper hand. And why, even if we can't predict it immediately, you can place your certainty on being able to pick up on it in due time and when their mask begins to slip. And having faith in yourself and knowing that you are now knowledgeable where you once weren't before, and no longer naive in the knowing that these monsters very much do so exist. But to know that equally as real are others who do have an intact moral compass, have empathy, and understand importance of and value things such as kindness, honesty, integrity, mutual respect, puts ourselves in a position where we do have a chance and possibility of fulfilling what we as humans desire more than anything in this world: to be loved, to matter, to be understood, and to feel like we truly belong. And you will never get that from a narcissist. You can't, which though is sad in that regard. But as sad as it is, there isn't anything that you or anyone else can do to change them, their ways, or their perception on it. It's one thing they refuse to help themselves and or face reality, but it's a whole nother to deliberately inflict harm, pain, and suffering unto others unnecessarily, because in doing so makes them feel like some kind of wonderful. There's not anything human, just, or right about that, no matter how you slice it or what official diagnosis or label you slap onto it. Because evil is evil and abuse is abuse. No one deserves what these evil, abusive fuckers dole out and bestow. So fight for you. Fight to get back the life that these people had absolutely no right to ever take from you in the first place, because you are worth and deserve so much more. Focus on you. Fuck the narcissist.